In the heart of the quiet town of Morrington, a chilling event unfolded. A town where the whispers of the leaves and the chirping of the birds were the loudest sounds one could hear. A place where time seemed to move at its own leisurely pace. Morrington was a picture of tranquility, a sanctuary for those seeking solace from the hustle and bustle of city life. Yet beneath this idyllic facade, a mystery was brewing, a puzzle that would leave the town's inhabitants in a state of shock and disbelief. The center of this enigma was a young woman named Emily. Emily was the town's darling, a beacon of warmth and kindness, who added life to Morrington's calm atmosphere. Her laughter was like a melody that resonated through the quiet streets, and her presence, a comforting assurance of familiarity in the small town. But one stormy night, the melody ceased, and the assurance disappeared. Emily, who was known to be safely tucked into her bed each night, was not in her home. Her room, which usually echoed with her cheerful laughter, was eerily silent. The house, which was usually filled with her vibrant energy, was unsettlingly still. Emily was nowhere to be found. As the storm raged outside, her disappearance sent ripples of fear through the heart of Morrington. The town, which had never known any significant disturbance, was now the stage for a disconcerting mystery. The inhabitants were puzzled, their peaceful existence disrupted by this inexplicable event. As the dawn broke, the storm subsided, leaving behind a chilling silence. Emily's house stood there, quiet and desolate. Her belongings were in their place, her room untouched, her bed neatly made. It was as if Emily had never existed. The only thing that remained was the lingering sense of her absence. Emily was there one moment, and the next, she was gone, vanished without a trace. The small town of Morrington was left grappling with the haunting question: what happened to Emily? And thus the tale of the mysterious disappearance began. The town was in shock, and the search for Emily began. The quiet, tight-knit community sprang to action, their hearts heavy with worry and fear. Stalwart volunteers combed the nearby woods, their lanterns casting long, eerie shadows. The local police force, usually tasked with petty crimes and the occasional lost pet, now faced the grim task of a missing persons investigation. The investigation led them to Emily's home, a quaint farmhouse on the outskirts of town. Inside, they found a series of strange clues that only deepened the mystery. A half-eaten meal still warm on the table, Emily's favorite book, left open on a particularly chilling passage, and most baffling of all, the back door left wide open, as if Emily had simply walked out and vanished into the night. As the days turned into weeks, the town's hope began to wane, but the clues left behind only grew more perplexing. The more they searched, the more bizarre the case became. As days turned into weeks, things started to take a chilling turn. This was no ordinary town anymore. It was as if the very air had changed, bearing a cold, eerie feeling that would make the bravest of hearts shudder. Whispers swept through the streets like a sinister breeze, carrying tales of the inexplicable and the uncanny. Around town, everyday objects began to display a life of their own. Cups would shift from their coasters, doors would creak open on still nights, and shadows danced where there were no dancers. The mundane had taken on a disconcerting twist, each occurrence more baffling than the last. It was as if an unseen hand was playfully meddling with reality, turning the ordinary into a spectacle of the extraordinary. But it was the whispers in the wind, that truly sent chills down the spine. They started as soft murmurs, barely noticeable, like the rustling of leaves. Soon, however, they grew into distinct voices, echoing through the alleyways and empty corridors. They carried a message, a name: Emily. Over and over the wind seemed to chant her name, a haunting lullaby that filled the nights with dread. And then, there were the sightings. Figures, fleeting and spectral, seen from the corner of the eye. A rustle of fabric, a flash of white, a soft giggle that echoed in the silence. Each account was different, yet they all had one thing in common: Emily. It was as if her spirit had never left, wandering the town in search of something, or perhaps someone. The sightings were sporadic, unpredictable, but one thing was certain: Emily was still very much a part of this town. And so, as the sun set each day, a shroud of fear would descend upon the town. Every creak, every whisper, every shadow was a reminder of the chilling presence that had taken hold of their lives. The town was gripped by fear. A haunting had begun. Emily's best friend Sarah started digging deeper, uncovering a dark secret. Sarah, driven by fear and concern, decided to delve into the unknown, into the shadows of the past. She began her quest in the dusty town archives, where she unearthed an old, chilling tale. The tale of the ghost of Morrington. As Sarah flicked through the brittle pages of history, she came across a legend that sent shivers down her spine. The ghost of Morrington was once a young woman, just like Emily. She had mysteriously vanished from the town in the late 18th century, never to be seen again. Her name was lost to time, but her ghostly presence was etched into the town's folklore. The ghost of Morrington, as the legend goes, was known to appear on moonlit nights, wandering the town's streets. She was said to be a harbinger of unexplained disappearances, her apparition appearing only to those destined to vanish without a trace. The last sighting of the ghost, according to the records, was exactly 200 years ago. And now, Emily was gone. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she traced the eerie parallels between the ghost's legend and Emily's disappearance. Like the ghost, Emily had vanished on a moonlit night. No trace of her was found, even after exhaustive searches. And the most chilling part? Emily had mentioned seeing a ghostly figure in the days leading up to her disappearance. Sarah's investigation led her to a forgotten corner of the town's history, where fact and folklore intertwined, casting a grim shadow over Emily's disappearance. The ghost of Morrington, a legend once confined to the pages of history, now seemed ominously real. It seemed to beckon from the depths of the past, hinting at a connection that was as chilling as it was unbelievable. Could Emily's disappearance be connected to the ghost of Morrington? Sarah wondered, the question echoing in her mind, filling her with a dread she had never known. The dark secret she had uncovered was just the beginning. The real horror was yet to unfold. As Sarah delved further into the past, she made a startling discovery. A discovery that would shake her to her very core. Sarah had been investigating Emily's family history, tracing back the lineage decades, centuries back. The family tree was riddled with mystery and unexplained deaths. But it was one name that caught her attention. One name that echoed through the ages. Agnes. Agnes, an ancestor of Emily, lived in the late 16th century. She was a woman of strength and wisdom, but her knowledge was misunderstood, feared. Accused of witchcraft, Agnes was ostracized, persecuted, and eventually executed. But not before she made a prophecy, a curse that would plague her descendants until the end of time. Sarah found the ancient transcripts of Agnes's trial. Agnes stood accused in front of a crowd baying for her blood, yet she remained resolute. She warned them, "You condemn me now, but my blood will carry this curse. Every fourth generation, a child of my lineage will vanish, lost to the world, and you will remember me." The words sent a chill down Sarah's spine. She realized the pattern. Emily was the fourth generation since the last unexplained disappearance in her family. Emily wasn't just missing. She was the victim of a centuries-old curse. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She had started this journey hoping to find Emily, to bring her back, but now she was faced with a terrifying truth. A curse, a witch, and a missing friend. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but the picture they were forming was far more sinister than she had ever imagined. As the reality sank in, Sarah felt a shiver of dread. This wasn't just about finding Emily anymore. It was about breaking the curse, about fighting forces beyond human comprehension. The stakes were high and the clock was ticking. Emily's fate, it seemed, was inextricably linked to a past that refused to stay buried. Emily wasn't just missing, she was the victim of a centuries-old curse. Sarah now faced a daunting task, a battle against time and a fight against the unknown. Her journey had just begun. Just as Sarah was piecing together the puzzle, something unexpected happened. In the blink of an eye, Sarah vanished into thin air, much like Emily had. The echoes of her last terrified scream still reverberated through the town, a chilling reminder of the terror that had once again gripped its residents. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, menacing shadows, the town was plunged into an eerie silence. The once bustling streets were barren, and the laughter and mirth that usually filled the air were replaced by a palpable tension. The townspeople huddled in their homes, their hearts heavy with dread. Sarah's disappearance was all too familiar, a chilling replay of Emily's own vanishing. Was this the work of the same sinister force? The town held its breath, its fear growing with each passing moment. What happened to Sarah? Is she the next victim of the curse? The mystery continues,